evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I'm reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading Satellite Office down in sunny South Florida. Today's date is Monday, November the 5th, 2012, and here is today's After the Bell Market Summary. Want to first start by taking a look to see how the indices closed here. The Dow Jones closed up 19.28, the Nasdaq closed up 17.53, and the S&P 500 closed up 3.06 points. Breadth was slightly in favor of the bulls today. We had 3,394 issues advancing. We had 2,741 issues declining on the NYSE, NASDAQ, and AMEX. All right, now I did not have a chance to do a midday market update today, so therefore I just want to do a little quick rundown of the intraday action. Then we'll take a look at the daily stuff here. What you're looking at right now is the daily is a 5-minute and the 15-minute chart of the ES. But I just want to cover the 5-minute real quick, take off the study so you guys can see the pattern a little bit cleaner here. And this is how we were set up for today, guys, in the chat room. If you have not been to our chat room yet, it is mywallstreettv.com. Whether you're an options trader, whether you're a equity trader, or you trade futures, we trade them all in there. It depends on what type of setups we have, but we do trade options. We do trade weekly options. We trade futures, and, we trade of course, equities. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the 5-minute chart. And going to the morning session here, I was telling the traders in the chat room how we had this nice little downward channel that was in play, and you can see here how it played out. All right, we also had a range-bound action that was taking place where 1403 was a support area on the ES. So therefore, when we sold off right there a little bit in the morning, we were actually looking for stocks that were showing relative strength or looking to pick up some stocks on the cheap that were coming to support levels. Lo and behold, we had Cena as one of our top picks. If you were following us on our Twitter stream or our stock Twitch stream, you would have seen that we called Cena out in the morning before we had its nice up move, and that was our awesome trade for the day. We were done early for the day, as that one just kept on giving us profits throughout the whole day. If you take a look at the 5-minute, if you take a look at the 15-minute chart on the left-hand side, you can see this was a range-bound action we had overnight between 1408 here and 1403. So therefore, we weren't really looking, for a breakdown action, for the fact that we have this news coming out tomorrow for the elections, and we're not looking for any big directional moves yet until we figure out who the next president is going to be. Therefore, this played out actually pretty well. You see about the bottom of the channel down there, which we have highlighted. Then going to the lunchtime, they did a little shakeout back inside the channel. Once we got back into the channel, that was another long that we called right when I got back down to my desk at 1407 all the way back to 1411. And you can see it actually went to a high of 1415. So some good action in the chat room, guys. If you guys have not been there, go to wallstreettrading.com, fill out the form on the upper right-hand side for the 14-day free trial. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the SPY daily chart. You can see we're below the lower bottom channel line here of the little upward channel that we've been in since the June lows. All right, and you can see here we are in this little consolidation zone from back here. That's why I have it highlighted in yellow, just to show you that's a little support zone, kind of like a little cushion. We have to see if we're going to break below that little cushion or if we're going to try to get right back above it. You can see we got that bounce that we were expecting. All right, since the fact we were trapping a lot of people that were trying to short the market down here off this key trend line from these little inflection points, from this little downward channel that we have in play. All right, you take this little high up here, take that high, you got this high, you take your little pivot low that we made right here before we had a nice move up, and that gave you that key trend line, which we've been highlighting in our videos. All right, and that market had a nice little up week until Friday, of course. Got a lot of people trapped there, and I'm gonna show you how the trap action is taking place on the channel system on the ES. So therefore, right now, 141 is the major level to watch. If we break below and hold below 141, and then we take out 140, we could get some selling pressure. At the same time, we got to respect the fact that this 141 area has been holding since last week Tuesday, and we still have this little support from this little key trend line down here that we were holding as well. Now you can see that it was getting respected from the traders, from computer programs, whatever it was holding, whatever was bidding it down there against this key trend line, and so far it's holding, whether it's this key trend or the key level. 141 is the level to watch, then 140, then 139.52, and then 138.13, which are these moving averages down here. Back to the top side, if we can get back above 142.58 on the SPY and break back above all these moving averages and break back over Friday's high, which was 143.72, then we could obviously get some traction to the top side. But right now, it's pretty much a mixed market. You have some stocks breaking down, some stocks breaking up. Volatility still remains at these elevated levels, and we'll take a look at that here shortly. All right, so let's take a look at the ES now. Real quick, let's cover some of the stuff picking up that I'm picking up on the channel system. All right, and we did get that little bounce that we were expecting from this prior little consolidation range that we had right here back in the channel. If you guys go back to our videos that we had back there in September, we actually called that breakout. All right, we had a little breakdown, this little bottom range down here. We broke down, got rejected. Let me zoom in here for you guys real quick. I'm trying to make this a quick video, as I know a lot of you guys are getting ready for Monday Night Football and whatever other things you guys like to do. Actually, so here we go. So we broke below this key little trend line that we've been tracking from this little big channel, right? We called the bull trap action up here. We called the little breakdown right here. All right, but then we had this little lower trend line of support from that little prior channel that I showed you, right here to the left. So I'm gonna zoom out a little bit here so you guys can see it. All right, this little channel right here. So now, all right, the fact that this was prior support from this little channel acted as resistance, 2 weeks ago. Acted as resistance last week. However, guess what happened here, right, guys? Take a look at this. Let's take a look what they did. Right, they ran the ES all the way up back above this trend line to maybe hit some stops out that that some people or some traders may have had above this key level right here. Sucked them longs in. All right, making people think we're going to go back up and then wash them right back out. And this is where the volatility is coming in here, guys. Green, red, green, red. All right, so now we're back below this key trend line. If we continue to hold below this key trend line, which remember, this was support back here. Now it's acting as resistance. Trap some longs right here. We remain below this, say this little 14, 11, 14, 12 area, which some of you guys in the intraday chat room know how. You guys should know how that has been the key level that we've been watching, throughout the past couple weeks here. All right, for that 14, 11 area. So if we remain below that level, expect to push back down towards this bottom band down here, and then expect this to be kind of like the little range that we're watching. I know it looks kind of crazy, but this this has been the system that we have been working with since back here. And if you guys have been following the videos, all right, this has been working out pretty well. Now this is just a channel system. We obviously pay close attention to key horizontal and key inflection levels. So that's that. Let's take a look at the triple Qs. All right, triple Qs are in this little support band, still holding the 65 area. If you guys remember what I said in the weekend review, we had this little consolidation right here. So that top of the consolidation is acting as support, as you can see. And 65 is the low on the Qs, plain and simple. If we break below 65 and start holding below 65, and we take out the low that we made back here on the 26th of October, which was 64.65, then we're going to get some selling pressure. Let me put the studies back on the chart so you guys can see the moving averages. You guys can see here the Qs are trying to hang in on these 200-day exponential and simple moving averages right here. Sorry if I'm talking too fast. I'm just trying to make this a quick video, as a lot of people are just waiting for tomorrow, so there's not really much to talk about. That's the Qs. Let's take a look. Well, first of all, the levels you're watching the Qs, of course, like I said, 65, 64, 65, top side. You want to see the Qs get back above 66.20 and hold. If you take a look at the IWM did get that nice little bounce off the little channel that we were looking for. Got this little bounce from here from let's see here, what date is this? October 26th. Got the little bounce off the bottom of the channel to the top. Unfortunately, on Friday, it gapped up to the top of the channel. They sold it right off. But you can see here, the key level to watch on the IWM is 81. As 81 has been holding, for the past 2 weeks or so here. And, really, if we can get above this little downward trend line and hold above it and then get back above 83.26, we could have a legit channel breakout here. As we are against the 200-day moving average. We have seen this pattern before. We have this nice little downward channel that we break out, nice little downward channel, which this channel is a little bit longer, but it could still break out. But again, we still have a lot of news that's coming out, including the election, that's going to dictate which direction this is going to break out. All right. If we take a look at the dollar futures, the dollar futures has been showing some strength, and that's why that's why the market's kind of having some trouble trying to catch a bid. All right, and you can see here, if the dollar index continues to go higher, the next level of resistance is going to be around 81.50 from this little resistance band, and that will be an area that we would start looking at some of these commodity stocks or some of these precious metal stocks that have been selling off and getting hit back down. All right, that's how the dollar is looking. If we take a look at the VIX, the VIX, ever since we call this little breakout from this little channel right here and this little bid that was going around this 1484, we broke out. We did get that pullback in the volatility index like we were expecting, and then guess what happened? On Friday they bought it right back up, and now it's holding here on Monday. I'm going to tell you guys one thing. If this VIX starts holding above this 19 level right here, and then takes out this high that we made 2 weeks ago on the 23rd, which the high of that is 1965. You can expect this volatility index to make another move higher, as that will be the channel breakout right here. That will be the pullback, the back test to make the little higher pivot low off that little channel level, and then that's going to be the continuation move. So it could get a little bit crazy, guys. That's why you guys have to be on your toes right now, and make sure you guys are paying close attention to the price action. What else do we want to take a look at? I want to take a look at gold real quick. GLD. GLD had a nice little gap up today, inside day of Friday's action. Don't really see much here, and that's why I'm really not paying attention to the gold stocks right now. Let's take a look at the gold miners. All right, you guys can see here the gold miners are setting up in my channel system, and this is setting up pretty interesting because, as you can see here, this is a little channel. Let me take off the studies here so you guys can see it a little bit cleaner. You can see how the GDX has been trading this little downward channel motion. Obviously, some of you guys, obviously you guys aren't seeing this because this is something that I have set up here from my channel system. But I mean, it is valid. You got your little channel range that's been taking place right here. Okay, and if we break this little bottom channel below 49, we could get some selling pressure, guys. We could get some serious selling pressure. If we break below 49, and then the GDX takes out that 49 level exactly. Now I'm gonna show you guys a little something here. If the GDX does break down, I'm gonna tell you guys one thing. The level that's gonna act as support is gonna be this area down here. Why? Because you can see how that key trend line was acting as resistance for a while here, till it finally broke out right there. So the GDX could sell off all the way down to 44. Obviously, we're going to be waiting to figure out some more clues. But if it does go down there and the gold sells off, I will be looking to do some little scalps down there. Only time will tell, but definitely keep an eye on the miners as they are hanging. Based on my system, they are hanging on the edge of a cliff here. They could get a bounce right here, but if they don't get a bounce, they break below 49 and 48.55, this moving average, they could get some selling pressure. And let's take a look at a couple of them right here, right now. You can see GG. GG got a nice little bounce back in this little upward channel that it was in. If it gets back below 42.61, it can make a move back down towards 41. ABX has been one that has been getting crushed. Right, ABX still looks like it wants to go lower. And if the gold miner chart, if the GDX breaks down, like I showed you guys, that's a possibility. You can expect the ABX to continue selling off. It is the weakest one in the group right now. You can take a look at AEM. AEM's trying to hang in there. You can take a look at RGLD. RGLD is trying to hang in there. Take a look at Newmont Mining, another one that people like to trade. NEM. And even this one's looking pretty weak. So keep an eye on these gold miners, guys. Last but not least, let's take a look at crude oil via the crude oil futures. Crude oil futures did have a nice little bounce. The time the bounce came in like around 3 o'clock or so. Yeah, actually like around 1:30, the bounce started coming in right here. I saw this intraday, and right now it's actually holding that level pretty well. You can actually see that's actually consolidating here since we closed and here overnight off of that little move, kind of flagging a bit there. So I'm going to be watching crude oil pretty close here to see what it wants to do. It could still have some more downside, but it is coming to this little support around $84 a barrel. If you guys take a look at USO instead of the crude oil futures, you could take a look at USO and see USO's at some minor support right here from this little pivot low that it made back here on July 10th. If we continue to break down, we could be expecting to move down towards 30.53. Then we have a gap fill around 29.96, a little gap window down there, which I have shaded in yellow. All right, now just to name a couple key stocks we were watching. Apple. Okay, Apple is at the bottom of this little channel. Not really interested in doing much with Apple right now. It is near this little support zone that you guys can see around this 570 area. Obviously, you do not want to be short selling Apple down here. You had all this time, for the past couple of weeks, more than for the past 5 or 6 weeks to short Apple. If you want to get short, it doesn't make sense to short it down here. It's just in a no zone right for me right now, unless the technology stocks and the leader stocks start showing some strength again, these big cap tech stocks, then I'll be looking for a bounce. But right now, it's probably just going to chop around down here. And I'm hearing that from a lot of people that trade Apple a lot as well. What else here? Amazon. Take a look at AMZN. Amazon holding this little 231.89 area. This looks a little bit interesting. We may have something here. I want to see how it sets up tomorrow. If it gets over 235 and holds that 235 bid, we see some bidders step in. It can maybe get a nice little move to the top side. Let's not forget Cena. Cena was the monster trade that we had called in the chat room. You can see Cena has a nice little downward channel break play. All right, and it's funny because Sohu had earnings today. They didn't do pretty. They did pretty well, but the stock faded throughout the whole day. I believe they beat on earnings per share and on revenue. You guys can double check that, but I know the stock gapped up, traded higher. But Cena has the same pattern that Sohu had before it traded higher. Cena has earnings next week. You can see this is Cena right here, and you can take a look. Sohu has the same pattern, even though Sohu faded, but you can see Sohu had this little downward channel, got involved here. Most people that probably got involved here on Thursday or Friday, they sold that gap up most likely. That's why we just had that continued selling pressure. Don't take it off your radar. See if it fades off a little bit more this week, and maybe you could give a nice little opportunity to pick it up against these lower levels and on an official back test of this little channel that it broke right here. All right, Baidu is the weakest one in the group. All right, and the reason why we like Cena for long today, because we were keeping an eye on these Chinese stocks. Sohu obviously had earnings, like I said, and that stock wasn't showing any relative strength. Baidu wasn't showing any relative strength. But if you take a look at Cena, lo and behold, that one was showing some nice relative strength. Let me bring down this chart right here real quick. And what I got the traders in the chat room involved, and if you follow me on the Twitter stream, I got you guys involved around 55.14. Why? If you could take a look here, this yellow dotted line that I have right here is the opening price of today's session on this stock here. This yellow line on this side is from yesterday's opening price. So you can see here it was consolidating above the opening price, consolidating above yesterday's opening price, consolidating right below previous day's highs, which is this red line, in a nice little consolidation while the market was trading choppy in the morning. That's showing you relative strength, strongest one in the group, and that's why we got it long, and it made a nice move up towards 58.50. A nice move for us here on our side of town. So that's really about it, guys. Obviously, we'll have some more stuff tomorrow. I don't want to make the video too long. If you want to come see some of the stuff we do, make sure you come check us out in the chat room. Go to wallstreettrading.com to find out more information. Cheers, have a good night, and enjoy that Monday Night Football. Later.